Hi everyone, my name is Anna MacGregor and I'm the Domestic Abuse and Sexual Violence Co-Ordinator for Safer Cornwall and Cornwall Council. And this week is Stalking Awareness Week. So we wanted to reach out to you just to share some safety tips about how to maintain your safety, your privacy, if somebody is stalking you or harassing you. And we wanted to focus particularly on cyber stalking because we have seen an increase in that type of offence and activity. And as you will be aware, technology and software has developed dramatically, and you may feel slightly intimidated by how to maintain your safety in that context. So I'm here with Rob Beaton, CEO of Footwork, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things that we can do to keep safe, being an expert in the software field. So Rob, obviously one of the things that we can touch on is social media. We know most people now have a social media presence, and there are different things that we can do to stay safe in that arena. And I think it's worth noting as well that, you know, we don't believe this is your responsibility as people being stalked to keep yourself safe. We want to stop that behaviour in the first place ever happening, but we are here to give you some guidance about how to keep safe if it is happening to you at the moment, and still be able to have as much freedom as you can, but in a safe way. So Rob, are there any suggestions you can give us around the social media?
Yeah, I guess it's down to how private you want to stay, and that depends on your situation. But I think things like checking into venues and advertising your location at certain times, I think is going to show people who follow you where you are, and I think that's going to present a danger and an opportunity to a stalker. So yeah, at one level, you know, you want to keep using social media, but it's just about being aware of, you know, what's on your stream and what you're sharing that would, you know, give people an opportunity to find out where you are. So I think it's just being a bit mindful of what you're posting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the best places to start as well is Googling yourself to see what comes up online and how easy it is to find things out about you. And then also what is visible to other people through social media, in terms of, you know, asking somebody maybe to disinvite you on everything, unfollow you, and then just see how accessible your profiles are.
Yeah, and sometimes you're not aware, are you? I mean, you know, I use I use Snapchat, but I have Snapchat, and my sons have that, and that has a map on it, and I can see where they are. But you're not always aware that these apps are showing your location to anybody who you connected with. So I think using you know, a technically savvy friend is a really good idea, because they can see you know, what you're showing on maps and other location type of devices and displays that you may not be aware of, because they're kind of hidden in the background unless you know to go look for them. And these days a lot of people have quite a number of different apps they're using. So there's, you know, Facebook, Instagram, even sort of fitness apps like Strava. If you go out running, might be tracking where you're going, and then say, you know, things like Snapchat and WhatsApp all have location as well. So, you know, you need to do a kind of a review really of what's being shown of your location, especially, and maybe a pattern to that people are tying in with you don't want to be sharing.
Okay, thank you. So to move on to what we've seen as well, I think, is a development, you know, around mobile phones now. They're pretty much a tiny computer in your pocket that does everything you need it to do. And with that, there is some substantial risk attached to it. So I know that we've worked with clients in the domestic abuse field that have had, you know, hidden apps or trackers or joined up accounts. So is there anything there that you can advise on?
Yeah, I'd say definitely on the account side of things. You know, you can get to a place where, you know, you've got shared accounts or your passwords are you know, the same across all of your email accounts and so on, and a person who especially knows you may know your password, or once they've got a password to one thing, they can then use it on another. They can then access your emails. So I think the best solution is to use one of the many password managers. Now that's another app that you put onto your phone or your computer, and what that will do is it'll generate complex passwords for you, so you can change it from password 123 to, you know, a jumble of letters and numbers that no one would be able to guess, but it then stores that password in the manager, so when you come to log in, it logs in for you. So it means that you can improve your security and you know, without getting kind of locked out of your own account. So yeah, password managers, I'd say, are probably the best thing to secure your accounts from anybody hacking into them.
Okay. Do you have any examples of good password managers that we could offer to people?
Yeah, there's a few out there. I think the best ones I know, there's one's called Dashlane, and another one I use is called LastPass, and they're free to use. So always a free option on them. So give them a try and see what works for you.
Tracking software, that's now something that people can put on phones, and it can have a really positive use, like with children, being able to locate your children in terms of risk of missing and things like that, but it can also have quite a negative use as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some standard ones that come with your operating system, so whether that's Android or the Apple iOS system. So it's called Find My Friends, or there can be an app that someone's put onto the phone when you're not with it, that you're not aware of. So you need to turn off any kind of tracking that's on the standard app, but you also need to have a look for any apps that you don't recognize.
That can, if you weren't, there's a lot of people that aren't particularly savvy or familiar with software, or even their phones. I'm probably one of them, and where you might be able to go to get support with that.
Well, you could either use, as we said, a techie friend, or you could go to, one of the phone shops. I mean, there may be like an Apple store, or some of the independents, and I'm sure they would be able to help you very quickly in finding and removing those applications.
Oh, that's really useful, thank you. The other thing I wanted to ask about was car trackers, and I think it would be good to know what we could do in that situation. If we think that's a possibility, where can somebody go for support?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit scary, really, isn't it, that people are going to that length of that extent to follow you, and I guess it's just too much you can order on Amazon these days. But to find those things, they're going to typically be magnetic or maybe taped on. They'll be up inside, a wheel arch or somewhere that's easy to access. And out of sight, of course. So if you take your car to a dealership or a local garage, I'm sure they would empathise with what you want to have checked on the car and be able to put up on a ramp, or just even sort of feel around and find. It'll be a small device. I mean, it's probably the size of a computer mouse or something of that sort. So it should stand out pretty well if you reach around in those areas. But yeah, probably best to take it to a garage and get it up on a ramp and have a proper look.
Okay, great, thank you. I think it's also worth noting there that if you do have a very modern vehicle, some of these cars have got inbuilt tracking systems on them for safety reasons, or SIM cards. And again, if you share that vehicle with somebody and you both have access to the account with the provider, just don't use the vehicle in short. But yeah, that's just something to be mindful of if you do have a modern vehicle. Thank you so much, Rob, for your help with this. I think it's really important that people feel informed and understand that there are different types of behaviours happening now, and how to get support. For everybody watching, if you are experiencing something that is stalking related or harassment, or you've got fears around this, don't hesitate to call the police. If you're in immediate risk of harm, please call 999. If you want to have a conversation with a police officer about something that's ongoing but you're safe at the moment, please call 101. You can also contact Safer Cornwall for further information, and you can also access Safer Futures, which is our integrated domestic abuse and sexual violence service.